So the other day I was at Best Buy with my friend and we were looking for a microphone cable, but we couldn't find it, so he went up to the nearest female employee to ask for help. And immediately I was attracted by this girl because she was pretty cute, maybe 5'2", 5'3", half white, half Latina. So she led me into the section where all the cables were, and that's where I worked my magic for the next few minutes. And after this interaction was over, there was a guy standing nearby who had heard this entire thing, and he gave me a fist bump and he gave me a head nod. And so 2 days later, I'm now hanging out with this girl that I met at Best Buy. And so in this video, I want to give you the 3 takeaways that I actually learned from this interaction, so you can also meet and date women that you meet at Best Buy or anywhere else. And by the way, I wasn't always able to meet women in the wild like this. I actually had to rely on dating apps as a crutch. I had social anxiety. I was bad at talking to women, okay? But over the last 4 years, I have been practicing, I have been studying this every single day. And so I've been able to develop a system that's already helped other guys to achieve a high level of social confidence and success in their dating lives. If you'd like to learn more about how I actually help guys to do that, you can click the link below this video and just take a look at my website. Now, the first takeaway that I learned from this actual interaction was that you want to take advantage of spontaneous, natural opportunities that occur. Okay, so something that you need to understand about women is that when a woman senses that you have a plan or that you have what they call an agenda, then it makes her feel very pressured, and it can also make you seem creepy. So there's kind of different ways you can meet women. One way you can meet women is with a direct approach or a direct open, right? So that's when you go up and you immediately give her a compliment and you make it very clear that you're interested in her on a romantic level. Now, that would be the most agended way of actually meeting a woman. And you can do that in a way that actually seems very natural and works out. But if we were to rate that on a scale of most planned, then it would be at the top, right? Versus me, going up to a girl at the Best Buy and I'm actually asking her for help because she works there. Then she takes me into the cable section, and then that's when I actually start doing my approach. Well, that has brought her guard down, right? Because that was natural, that was spontaneous. And so what you want to do is you want to take advantage of these spontaneous moments that occur. And this is why whenever you see a high school movie, usually you're going to see a cliche scene where a guy and a girl are walking, near the lockers, and the girl, maybe she's like a nerdy girl, she's carrying a bunch of books and papers, and they bump into each other, and it all gets knocked onto the ground. And so now they're on the ground picking up the papers and stuff, and they look at each other in the eyes. And that's how they meet, and that's how they form a connection, right? Because that makes for a good story, right? Rather than if a dude sort of had this planned agenda of going out, meeting this girl, it makes for a good story. And in the same way, it makes for a good story when you're able to take advantage of these opportunities that arise naturally. So once again, I don't want you to fear doing direct approaches where you're just going up and giving a compliment. There's a way you can do this that seems very natural. Okay, I'll just tell you how. You want to make the compliment, if you're going to do this, very unique to the girl. Okay, so I can go up to 100 girls and be like, hey, you're really cute, I wanted to say hi. Or I can notice something very unique, something very special about them, like maybe the way she walks, or maybe her specific outfit, or something like that. And that's going to come across much more natural, much more pertaining to the girl, and it's going to go a lot better for you. The next thing you want to do is you want to actually practice your introduction. You want to practice your opener, right? Because you don't want to make it seem like it's a scripted line. If you do those 2 things, then you can still have very natural, direct opens, but you want to take advantage of these situations that arise. Like, so let's say a girl is, I don't know, playing pool. Okay, and she knocks the pool ball off of the table, and now you have to pick it up and hand it to her. Okay, that is a very natural entrance into the conversation where you've lost zero power. So that's the first takeaway from this. The second takeaway from this Best Buy interaction was that you need to make things personal. Okay, so many guys wonder why they are able to have conversations with women. You know, maybe they're able to talk to women for 5 to 10 minutes, even get the number, but the girl never texts them back. And they wonder why this happens, and a lot of times it's because they don't make things personal. Okay, so most guys are going to talk to that girl in Best Buy maybe, but then what's going to happen is they're just going to keep trying to talk about things that are pertaining to Best Buy. Okay, so now they have the opportunity to talk to the girl, and they're like, sweet, now let's talk about microphone cables. Now let's talk about gadgets and electronics. And they might even go for the number. Okay, most aren't gonna go for the number, let's be real, but they might even go for the number. And then what's gonna happen is it doesn't make any sense for the girl to give you her number. It doesn't make any sense for the girl to wanna hang out with you based off of the surface level professional connection that you just made with the girl. So many guys have the complete wrong mindset. They think that just by talking to a girl about absolutely anything, they think that just by approaching a girl, she's automatically going to feel certain emotions. She's automatically going to know what's up. But this is not the way that it works at all. Okay, so a girl's not going to assume personal connection. A girl's not going to assume that the frame of this interaction is beyond friendly or beyond professional unless you make it such, and she's not going to feel that way. She's not going to feel any sort of sexual tension or any sort of flirtatious energy unless you actually create it yourself. And this is why a lot of guys on YouTube, you know, I even saw a really huge YouTuber the other day who said, oh, women don't care about guys who have social skills. Social skills don't matter. Game doesn't matter. Communication doesn't matter. All of these guys are complete frauds. All of these guys are complete frauds because if you talk to the girl about gadgets for the next 5 minutes, she's not asking you out, bro. Okay, you actually have to frame things in the right way. You have to understand how to make the girl feel emotions. That's why all of these guys are essentially just fraudsters on YouTube who say stuff like that. Okay, now I'm going to give you something very valuable. I'm going to teach you exactly how to make things personal in an interaction with a girl, and this is going to help you actually land dates, essentially, like that, point blank and clear. All right, I would actually take notes on this. I would write this down. This is incredibly important, and this might actually change a few of your lives watching this video right now. So there's a few things that you can talk about in conversation with a woman to make things personal. There's 3 things. 1, you talk about the girl. Okay, right, so if I'm talking to Best Buy girl and we switch off of the topic of microphone cables, but I'm now talking about her particularly, now it's personal. Okay, what can you talk about her? 1, teasing the girl. 2, complimenting the girl. 3, making observations about the girl. Okay, and that is what I did in that situation. Okay, so I'm talking to this girl. I'm like, oh, you're really cute, by the way. You know, it's too bad that you suck at helping me find what I need in the store. Okay, so a little bit of a push-pull, a little bit of a challenge, but I'm also, you know, giving her a compliment, and she's feeling something off of that, okay? So that's number 1, is talking about the girl. Number 2 is talking about yourself, right? So now I might tell a story about something that's going on in my day. Right now, I might tell an opinion about how I feel about a specific thing that's going on in the situation, something else that she says. That's number 2. She needs to experience you. She needs to know who you are. A lot of guys get this wrong. They're just grilling the girl, interrogating the girl like they're interrogating ISIS or something like that. Number 3 is talking about you and the girl. Okay, you and I are not gonna get along. Or a hypothetical situation like, you know what, you and I, we should go out tonight, actually. And that's actually what I asked her. So those are the 3 ways that you can make it personal with a girl. If you start doing this and you haven't been doing this before, it's going to make a big change, okay? Just start doing it, please. And the third takeaway from this interaction is that meeting women out in the wild, out in person, is a lot easier than you think. Okay, and I know I sound like a giant douche right now, but let me explain exactly what I mean. So number 1, guys think that meeting women out in person takes a lot of time. They think, oh my gosh, I don't want to get in my car, drive to a specific location. I don't want to leave my house. How pathetic does that sound in the first place? But anyways, no, and I understand why you think that. There's a lot of online dating coaches on YouTube. By the way, I don't even know what an online dating coach is. How do you even coach that? You know, if I wanted to have better online dating results, I would hire a photographer, I would hire a stylist, I would maybe hit the gym. But what does an online dating coach even do? But anyways, a lot of these guys will say things like, oh, you don't want to go out and go to the park, you don't want to go out to the bar. No, you just want to sit inside and sit on your phone because it takes less time. When in reality, I have guys booking free strategy sessions with me every day who used to use dating apps or who are currently using dating apps when they call me and they say things like, oh, Joseph, I've been spending 3, 4, 5, even hours swiping and texting and trying to optimize online dating every single week. And what happens is they're matching with these women, but these women are flaky. They're stringing them on for days, okay, weeks. I've even heard months, okay? I've even heard months of guys just trying to text back and forth with women because, and why does this happen? Why does this happen? It's because they haven't formed an actual face-to-face connection with a girl where she can feel your masculine presence, okay? And it's so much different trying to convince a girl to hang out with you as a stranger versus going up to a girl, forming a connection with her face to face. She can feel your presence. She already knows that you're cool. She already knows that there's chemistry. She knows what you look like. It's just so much different, okay? And so think about this. This conversation that I had with a girl it took 5 minutes max. The conversation was 5 minutes max, and it led to me going on a date with her, hanging out with her for 3 hours plus after that, okay? So I've had conversations with women where I've literally just met a girl walking by 1 or 2 minutes, and then it's led to me hanging out with her later that day or another day, 1 to 2 minutes. Yet we have all these guys texting women for days and weeks that they've never even met, wasting their time, and then saying that, oh, meeting women out in person takes more time. All right, it's very confusing. It's very deceiving because normally you think about, okay, technology better, technology faster. But when we're dealing with human connection here, maybe technology's not always the answer. All right, maybe just something to think about. And the second reason that it's a lot easier than you think is that it's actually very simple and it's not complicated to attract a girl in the wild. A lot of guys try to make this out like it's rocket science. And of course, like anything, you can break it down to an atomic level. You can make it more complicated. Like if you really want to become an expert, like if you're a super nerd like me. But in reality, you don't have to study hundreds of hours of theory. Okay, in the past, I literally bought 6 online dating courses, studying for weeks and months, every single communication technique you could possibly imagine. All right, when it actually didn't get me a result. All right, let me tell you something. In this interaction with this girl that I had at Best Buy, nothing that I did was complicated at all. All I did was talk to the girl and I made things personal. That's basically all I did. And then I just believed in myself and I went for the number. And I said, hey, you know, I don't want to get you in trouble, but you know, we've been talking forever in this cable section and I feel like maybe we should just hang out later. That would be a bit better. And then I get her number, or I said something like that, okay? Nothing that I did was complicated. Nothing that I did would require a PhD in game. All right, but why am I able to do this? Why am I able to attract a girl within 5 minutes? Is it because I understand theory? No. Okay, it's because of my sub-communication. All right, so sub-communication is the under layers of communication because like right now there's all of the words that I'm saying, but then there's my body language, then there's my tonality, my energy, my eye contact, and there's other things that it's communicating other than the actual information. All right, what is it communicating? Well, one thing is that I'm clearly passionate about this topic of dating in game, right? Another thing is you might be able to tell that I have some authority, that I have some experience on this because I've been doing this for 4 years and I've been coaching men for over a year. So there's things under the surface, under the hood of the communication, all right, and that sub-communication is what actually makes the girl feel something. It's what actually makes the girl feel sexual attention, and it's what actually shows my value. It's what shows my masculinity, that I'm having fun, that I'm non-needy, and that I'm cool, that I'm not weird. Okay, so that is what I have focused on for the past 4 years. I want to say it's been 4 years, but really it's been 3 because I was only focused on the words and stuff for maybe the first year. But the only reason that I've been able to build this sub-communication, all right, where I have massive belief in myself, where I have, social skills, where I have confidence in myself, is that I did it with a system. Okay, I actually had, a systematic process that I went through, every single day, every single week to develop this and to develop myself as a person rather than just learning theory. If you would like to learn more and if you would like to book a free strategy session with me where I'll show you how to start getting some results right away, you can just click the link below this video, go to my website, and then you can book a free call with me directly. That's all I have for the video today, guys. I hope you got something out of this, and I'll see you soon.